Good morning. We are the 6th grade GT students at Cross County Elementary. This is Carmen, this is Alexis, and Nicholas. The project this year was to solve a real-world problem.
Ryan, a 13-year-old from New York, is in a small plane headed to spend the summer with his dad in the oil fields in the Canadian wilderness. Shortly after takeoff, the pilot has a heart attack and the plane crashes in a lake in the middle of the wilderness.
Our job was to figure out how Brian could survive until he was rescued. After discussing all our research about the Canadian wilderness, we will be telling how we believe Brian could survive until he was rescued.
If stranded in the wilderness, what are the dangers of drinking lake water? If stranded in the wilderness without a good source of drinking water, your cells will begin to shrink and your blood flow will be restricted. In 24 hours, you could be severely dehydrated. Boiling water for 10 minutes ensures that all organisms are destroyed. Straining water with your t-shirt separates most of the dirt and filth in the water. If none of the methods aren't keeping you hydrated, look for animal pests. They will lead to water. Do not drink lake water straight from the source because of the dirt virus and bacteria that can kill you.
The animals in the Canadian wilderness. There are many animals in the Canadian wilderness, such as buffalo, bears, skunks, porcupines, and much more. There is the common loon, which is the signature sound of the Canadian wilderness. It has a high-pitched squeaking sort of sound, like any other kind of duck. There is the beaver, which is on the 5-cent coin. You usually know how to find them by hearing their slapping sounds, which also warns of danger at a river they're at. The muskox, which is very hard to kill, which is harder to kill than most of the other animals, due to the fact that it has 2 layers of fur, which makes it much harder to pierce through its skin. There's caribou.
So now that we've covered the research, just how are we going to solve this problem?
First of all, Brian needs shelter.
The ideal thing for Brian to find is a rock overhang. This would at least protect him from the elements.
What if there is not a rock overhang? Then we'd have to look for leaves and sticks.
Right. He could push these things together and stack them and make like a type of bed.
Don't you think the next most important thing to look at is food and water?
One of the things that he could do if he sees the supplies of berries is to notice if they're being eaten by birds or other small animals. This is a good sign that they are okay for humans to eat.
If he has no way of fishing, he could make like a crude pole, or he could look for turtle on the shoreline. It might have turtle eggs.
What if he has no way to cook the eggs? What's he going to do?
Well, even as bad as it sounds raw, it does provide certain nutrients and is better than starving.
We all know that we can't go a long days without water. But if you don't know how to strain it nor boil it, you can go to a distance of a shoreline and get a drink.
Yeah, remember that animals are going to be close to the shoreline to get a drink. And this is probably going to be the dirtiest, most unsafe for him.
He needs fire. We all know that Brian has a hatchet. If he understands that the hatchet being struck against a rock can cause a spark, and he knows that he has some pieces of paper in his pocket, and if he gathers some dry leaves, perhaps he can spark the fire into the soft material, and once it sparks, he can add small twigs and larger pieces of wood.
Now he has warmth, a way to cook fish and birds, and protection against animals at night.
For the most part, animals don't go near a fire at night.
What about some type of signaling? Once he has a fire going, it would be pretty easy to gather pieces of wood and take them down to the beach for a bonfire.
Yeah, in case a plane flew over, he would be in a position to light the bonfire and signal for help. Do you think we covered enough information for that Brian could survive until he was rescued?
Yes, we went over signaling, food, water, and how to build a fire.
Yeah, we covered all the basics so far.